Hello, this is Kevin Masters of the Masters Hot Rod School, Bristol, Indiana. I'm just sitting here enjoying a beautiful morning. Just ate me an orange. Got it sitting on the back of the old tractor. Got a spindle that needs repair on the brush hog so I can mow my grass. There's my old trailer. Of course, everybody needs a couple 2-wheel carts laying around. And my 99 Suburban that had the power steering pump out on it. Interesting on those, the 99s are kind of like a bastard version of the 99s because they had technology from the 90s and technology from the 2000s mixed together. So the truck itself makes it difficult to buy parts. For instance, the power steering pump is the only one they made that has a sensor that comes out the back of it. And you can only, it has some kind of power steering assist, and you can only put that pump back on it because it's all plugged into all the computer and brakes and all that stupid stuff. Took a while to find those. Luckily, Purgatory, over off Kensington Road, I believe it is, they were able to save me back one when they were doing their scrapping. Now there's the entrance to the house. Now, kind of fancy, but not really fancy because it was all built in the 70s and hasn't been well maintained. We got some cool street lights, antique street lights, and a old driveway with some cracks and character to it. Then we got this big old brick wall that this year I'm going to have to learn masonry and start doing some repairs to. We had a section of it that actually fell down and what they call a wind shear. It was like 100-mile-an-hour winds going sideways, and it blew a chunk of the brick fence right out and onto the road on the other side. Went halfway across the road. Some brush there, ready to have a little bonfire. And then we go this way a little more, and we got Mom's studio. That was always her dream. And then my antique fire hydrant sitting there. You know, if you got a fire hydrant like that sitting in your yard, you want to paint the top black. At least in our community, a fire hydrant with the top painted black means that's a non-functioning fire hydrant. So that way they don't come in and try to hook up to it and cost you a bunch of time during your fire. And like I said, Mom's studio. This thing here, that is a giant sycamore tree that has no business at all being that big. There's an underground river that runs through my property, so that just about anything that grows prolifically. It's crazy. They look like a prehistoric jungle. My mom has a sassafras over in front of her building that is legendary how big it is. And there's the back of the old vintage dragster. That thing's so cool. 36 Ford business coupe made into something totally else. It's a competition coupe dragster now. And a lot of tall grass and the center fountain. A dude roaming something hit it with a log when he was doing logging out here, and then he ended up screwing me anyway, and I never got a penny out of him, and he did a bunch of damage to the property. I don't know, everything I've ever paid to have done has been an utter failure. So I try to do as much as I can, but since I got my legs taken, well, they're not taken, I can walk a little bit, but it hurts like unbelievable. I haven't been able to get nothing done like I'd like to, and I have the best friends in the world, so they come out and they help me where they can, and I've actually should even be more thankful than I am for all the help they give me. Okay, and then here we go to on there back door of my suburban project, but behind it is the office on Dad's building. I got some eaves to fix this year. Real battle with the raccoons this year. They just screwed up everything to get their hands on. So the truck's been sitting for a while. It's a little stinky inside, so I got it opened up and aired out. You got in the middle of putting a new shifter cable in it right now, but I just got a new flywheel. And the building. Sitting back here in the trees doesn't look like it, but it's actually it's 130 feet long or 135 feet long, including the office. and it's about 75 feet wide. So it's got a little bit of square footage, but it's all hidden back in the brush, which is why I'm trying to get in here and clean this brush all out of there. I want to open all this area right here over that's all covered in brush. I want to open it up and put a fence around it. I got new neighbors coming, so I try to show a little respect for the neighborhood, I guess. Before, it was all woods back there, so nobody could see my cool stuff back here. But it's getting to the point where they will be able to. They cleared part of the woods back there to build 3 houses. Each lot is 0.9 of an acre, and I own property on both sides of them. So that kind of sucks, but I guess letting people have a roof over the head is kind of a nice thing. There's an old Ford tractor. This thing hardly hasn't spent a day inside. Dad just always left it out, sitting outside. He bought it brand new in '76, I believe it was. But it's a Ford. Interestingly, it was Ford made in Japan, which these are actually some of the best Ford tractors ever made. And this one is the 4-wheel drive version, because we have a lot of hills and stuff and drag around a lot of cars. But it's got a 2-cylinder diesel engine with a simple pump on it. I think they might call that P-pump. I don't know enough about diesels. Fortunately, I've never had to learn about a diesel because this thing has been trouble-free since the day that we got it, sitting outside all the time with a bucket on the exhaust. And it's just, every time I want to use it, winter, summer, fall, go out there and heat up the glow plug on it and fire it up, and it goes. I was looking at the value of these old tractors, and I was so surprised. Dad paid around $7,500 for it, which in 1974, 75, when he bought it, was like crazy money. And today, you can't go on the internet and buy this stupid tractor for less than $7,500, and that don't include with any implements or anything. It's kind of just neat. I've been driving that thing since I was 9 years old. I actually got ran over by it once. Made the mistake of starting it from the side, just let the diesel warm up, and it was in gear, and the diesel fired right off as soon as I spun it over, and it drug me underneath the back tires and spit me out the back, and then just took off across the yard. And so I had to jump up and shake it off and go running full speed after this thing before it took off across the 20 acres on its own. And I don't know how I did it. I guess that's one of those they call adrenaline rushes, to where I got ran over by the big ass tractor, jumped up, ran after it, jumped back on it, stopped it, and then I realized how much it hurt. But you know, that's a kid thing. There's a old Chevy bed, if you can call it that, and then it's mounted to a piece of like 57 Chevy frame. They cut it off underneath the cab and just moved the frame rails together and made a trailer out of it. I robbed the back fenders off of it for the dragster's trailer because I just thought it looked cool on there. So I got that half a truck sitting around. I'm not sure what's going to happen to it. The kid that works for me said he'd give me $100 for it, but he hasn't started, so started giving. He started working. But anyway, this is just me sitting around enjoying my beautiful morning. Thanks for peeking at it.